Line together for the last 7. Grant and Kuhn in the backfield. And the quick toss to Donald Driver. And Driver fights his way up close to the 45-yard line. He's got a first down. So immediately, Aaron Rodgers comes out throwing. 3-4 defense for the Arizona Cardinals. Calais Campbell has had a good year rushing the passer. Carlos Dansby, Chike O'Keefer, key men in the middle. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is the ball hawk and cornerback. 2 tight ends on first down for the Packers. It's Ryan Grant behind Quinn Johnson, the fullback. Gets up to midfield for Donald Driver. He has gone over 1,000 yards receiving for the 6th consecutive season and the 7th time in his great career with the Green Bay Packers.
Well, what's amazing about this offense, now that's 2 years in a row where they've got a 4,000-yard passer, a 1,200-yard rusher, and 2 wide receivers up over 1,000 yards. That's the first time in NFL history, Sam, that's been done in back-to-back seasons.
They have put together great offensive years. Ryan Grant, the lone setback on 2nd and 5. Donald Lee, the tight end, off the play fake. Rodgers being pressured by Higgins, throws and completes it to Jermichael Finley, who breaks away, gets a block, and is caught from behind as he gets down to the 20-yard line.
Well, you love it because that's the guy that's making all the plays recently. Sam, they've got illegal formation on the field. They only had 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, did the Green Bay Packers when they snapped the football.
Carl Cheffers is our referee.
Illegal formation on the offense. Number 80 was not on the end of the line. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
And that's something the Arizona Cardinals people don't want to see. Their key cornerback, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, down on the field hurting. As he gets checked out by the medical staff, we'll step out for a moment.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag, it's on.
And the bad news is that the cart is out to take Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie off the field. And he was holding his knee.
Well, you can see here as he's laying out to tackle Finley. Watch his left knee just bounce. And it looks like it hit right on the back of the cleat of Jermichael Finley. Either way, he came down hard on his left kneecap. Right there as he goes down on it, and that's what he turned in, immediately clutching that left knee. And that's the shame now, and you can see his tights there are torn from where he went down on that knee. That's what you don't want to have happen, clearly, in any game, in particular a meaningless football game. And that's a Pro Bowl corner, Sam, that's now in the locker room.
The penalty on the Packers negated a 30-yard gain. It sets them back to the 45-yard line. And they are 2nd and 10. 3 tight ends in for the Packers. Rodgers short drop, fakes, goes over the middle and completes it to the tight end Donald Lee. Down to the Arizona 47-yard line. 2 yards short of the first down marker. Packers have been outstanding second half of the season. We saw them Week 8 in Tampa get beaten by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Bucs' first win of the season, and they were in disarray defensively. They have pulled together and won 6 out of 7 here in the second half of the season.
A big part of it has been that number 88 that had the big one that was called back, Jermichael Finley.
That's Amon Green fighting, and coming up about a half-yard short of the first down line. Clark Higgins leading the way on the stop of Amon Green.
Well, in Arizona, right at the line of scrimmage, Calais Campbell, Brian Robinson, watch these guys just stack it up. And as those guys stack it up, Gerald Hayes fills downhill on the fullback, Quinn Johnson, which is going to force that right back into the defensive lineman that had piled up the offensive line at the line of scrimmage. Good fill by the linebacker, Gerald Hayes.
We'll get a measurement. And right now, the Packers keeping the offense on the field, as it looks like they may go for it. Length of the football. Aaron Rodgers looks over to the sideline. And the Packers will go for it on 4th and less than a yard. Ken Wisenhunt, the head coach of the Cardinals. Mike McCarthy, head coach of the Packers. Amon Green and Quinn Johnson in the backfield. Quarterback sneak. And it looks like he's got it. Big Aaron Rodgers with forward push led by the center Scott Wells. And left guard Darren College. Looks like he's got enough for the first down.
Well, and smartly goes away from Darnell Dockett. Darnell Dockett was lined up at left defensive tackle. And Aaron Rodgers went right behind Josh Sitton, the left guard, on the other side of Darnell Dockett. And I believe you're right. I think he does have it.
Darnell Dockett and Jermichael Finley having a little chat about things. And they bring out the chains for another measurement, just to be sure. And they do. By the length of the football. Mike McCarthy goes back to his card. Now, how much will Green Bay use of that offensive card?
I think they've got I think they'll use a lot of that play card. I think talking to Mike McCarthy yesterday, he said, we got a lot of plays. We could run all these plays on this card today and then still have a whole nother game plan for next week. That's how deep their playbook is. That guy right there, Ryan Grant, is a huge reason why, Sam, they have won 6 of their last 7 games.
That's a career high, 1,207 yards, surpassing last year's 1,203. Out of the shotgun, the handoff to Grant. Pushing forward, getting a good block up front from Scott Wells. Good pickup. Let's go to Dallas. Kurt Menefee, what's happening there? Oh, we're going to stay here for a moment.
Well, the Cowboys have the first lead of the game. The winner wins the NFC East. Dallas taking the opening possession. Jason Witten taking it 10 yards on the reception from Tony Romo. It's 7-0 Cowboys after the opening touchdown on the opening possession.
Thanks very much, Kurt. And as we check out Dallas with an early lead on Philadelphia. Short drop by Rodgers. Out to Donald Driver. Another catch, another first down. He's picked up by Brian McFadden and shoved back. Donald Driver has now gone over 9,000 yards receiving in his career. Only the second Packer to ever do that. The other one is James Lofton.
Oh, he's had an incredible career, and a guy that came out and his goal was, as late as he was taken, just make the football team, and has now become virtually the leading Packer receiver in almost every category.
A terrific career for him. 2 tight ends in, Jermichael Finley and Donald Lee. Ryan Grant and Quinn Johnson in the backfield. Again, quick toss, Greg Jennings inside the 25. Down to the 24-yard line, Michael Adams, who's replaced Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, making the stop.
And watch all these guys run. They think it's a run, and Aaron Rodgers is just going to read it out here and pick it up and throw it. The offensive line, they're running the running play. Aaron Rodgers looks out to the side, sees the off coverage by Michael Adams, who is out there for Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, and fires the slant for a completion.
James Jones, number 89, and is the 3rd wide receiver for the Packers on 2nd and 1. Rodgers gets time, plenty of time. Now he throws, and coming back to make the catch was James Jones. There's a flag on the play down at the 5-yard line. I wonder if James Jones stepped out of bounds.
Well, that's what that usually means. No hat on the official.
It could be an illegal touch.
Illegal touching of the pass. Offense, number 89. That receiver went out of bounds, came back inbounds, and was the first to touch the pass.
And they're going to go after this matchup.
Repeat second down.
With Michael Adams out there for DRC, but clearly both feet out of bounds there for James Jones. You can't come back in and be the first guy to catch the football.
So the ball moved back on the penalty to the 29-yard line. Packers have to get inside the 23 for a first down.
That's one issue that the Packers have got to get cleaned up as they get ready for the postseason, the penalties.
3 wide receivers in. Still second down. Rodgers puts it up deep for Greg Jennings, overthrows, and a flag on the play. Michael Adams was covering on the play. So we're getting several early flags here. And Carl Cheffers will check it out for us.
They're just trying to figure out where the penalty took place. It looks like it's clearly going to be on Michael Adams for either grabbing and holding or arm barring the receiver.
There's a ball in the air, then it would be interference.
Pass interference, number 27, defense. That ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Jennings just going to take off and get down the sidelines, and there you see right there, he's hooking his arm and holding him back. You cannot do that. That's a very, very good call by the back judge being able to pick that up.
And while that ball's in the air, that's pass interference.
Well,
Had the ball not been thrown, would have been a holding 5-yard penalty. Instead, it's pass interference, and the ball spotted at the 1-yard line. That's a 28-yard penalty against the Cardinals. So the Packers in a good spot here. They bring in Spencer Havner, number 41, as the third tight end. He has 7 receptions this year with 4 touchdowns. And we have a timeout. Packers threatening to score on this final regular season game.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light. With the just right taste that's not too heavy, not too light, the difference is drinkability.
Back here in Glendale, Arizona, Green Bay Packers. Boy, this is impressive offensively. 2 years in a row. Quarterbacks pass for over 4,000 yards, 2 wide receivers over 1,000 yards, and a running back over 1,200 yards.
Yeah, they are high octane. 28.5 points per game. I think that's second in franchise history for the Green Bay Packers. So
yeah, last time they were more was 62. Rodgers rolling. And wanted to run, throws for Finley. Incomplete. He got 1 foot down, the second foot came down out of bounds. Good pressure from Carlos Dansby on Aaron Rodgers.
well, Finley is going to get to the back of the end zone. Aaron Rodgers extending the play with his legs. Now he looks like he may want to run it, and then at the last second fires it out there. And Finley really on the back on the end line does a good job of going up and catching that football, but fades, and clearly that left toe was on the white stripe.
Didn't get either foot down in bounds. Here's second and goal from the 1. The toss to Ryan Grant, and he's in. Touchdown. Quinn Johnson with a good block to lead Ryan Grant in.
Very good block. Watch this. Grant sees it, and then bang, he is just going to fire it right into the crease. There's the kick-out block. Looked like it was on Adrian Wilson, and Ryan Grant does just a terrific job of reading that block. As soon as he saw the kick-out, he put on the Jets and went straight downhill, Sam, into the end zone for a touchdown.
11th rushing touchdown, and the extra point is blocked. There's a flag on the play. We'll check it out. Did Michael Adams come across too soon?
Offside, number 27, defense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat the try.
Good try by Michael Adams, but he was across the line too quickly.
Yeah, here he is right here, and watch him fire off before the ball is snapped. Well, that was pretty close, actually.
Real close.
Like he had a great anticipation of the snap count right there. The wingback had no chance to block him because of how he turned the corner.
So they reset for the extra point try. Mason Crosby.
To repeat the try.
Mason Crosby had groin problems. Mike Nugent kicked the last 2 weeks. Crosby back in, and the extra point is good. Packers with a 7-0 lead as Ryan Grant takes it in for his 11th rushing touchdown of the season.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Domino's Inspired New Pizza with new crust, sauce, and cheese. By AT&T, a better 3G experience. And by Visa. Visa debit is easier than cash. More people go with Visa.
Here we are in Glendale, Arizona. Green Bay Packers fans know how to travel. They travel well. In Green Bay, it's 17 degrees. We heard it was down to as low as 5, but up to 17. It's 68 degrees here in Glendale, Arizona. Now, the word from the locker room is a contusion of the left knee. Now, that could be okay as far as Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is concerned, and unlikely to return. So there he is. And a contusion doesn't mean structural damage. So I think there's a little cause for optimism there. Crosby slipped as he kicked off. The ball bouncing down to LaRod Stevens-Howling. On the return, he gets tripped up, falls forward to the 25-yard line.
Well, here's the kick. Crosby, watch his plant foot, right? Whoop! Just slips out from him. He goes down. The roof is closed today here in Arizona. Michael Bidwell told me before the game, I said, how come the roof is closed? He goes, well, you know, sun's shining in. He goes, I want to take care of all the fans up in the northeast section of the stadium. Gets about 15 degrees hotter when the sun's shining on you, so he's got all the fans in mind today, he said.
Now the Cardinals on offense for the first time in the game. Tim Hightower at running back. Kurt Warner starts at quarterback. With 3 wide receivers outside to Stephen Preston. Hit immediately. Short pickup, Tramon Williams on the tackle at left cornerback. Pickup of 3 on the play. Warner starting. He's had another good year. Larry Fitzgerald closing in on 100 receptions. Anquan Bolden on 1,000 yards receiving. Preston is an outstanding 3rd wide receiver. Anthony Beck is the starter at tight end, the offensive line. The key to man to watch is the left tackle, Jeremy Bridges. Brandon Underwood in as a 5th defensive back for the Packers, number 33. Out of the shotgun, Warner goes short and completes it to Early Doucette, the 4th wide receiver, who takes it out of bounds at the 41. That's a first down. Early Doucette, his teammates were really pumping him up after the touchdown catch last week.
Yeah, and they're going to clear it out with Fitz, and then he just runs an out route. See, Charles Woodson, they actually just block him with Fitzgerald before the ball was in the air, shielded him from being able to get to Early Doucette. Easy completion from Warner to the receiver.
Jason Wright lines up at fullback with Hightower in the backfield. That pass, a timing pattern for Larry Fitzgerald, broken up by Charles Woodson. What a matchup. Larry Fitzgerald and Charles Woodson, 2 Pro Bowl players.
Well, watch Woodson in a back pedal and still getting his hands up. I mean, he's looking at the ball. Look at that. It's so good. As soon as Fitzgerald turned his head to locate the quarterback, that was Woodson's cue to find the quarterback. He was still in a half of a back pedal and turned and was able to get a bat down. Sam, he may be playing the best football of his 12-year career.
They're talking him up for Defensive Player of the Year. Bolden motions. Beanie Wells is in the backfield. Here's Beanie Wells. And a good tackle on the play. Outstanding play by Nick Collins, who's had a great year at safety.
Well, Woodson, just going back to him, he has been so good. MVP-type season. He has got outstanding versatility. You see him here playing cornerback. Route recognition, gets an interception. He can play on the slot as a defender reading the quarterback's eyes. Linebacker locked up on a tight end, making a big play. He'll blitz from deep in the secondary and get after the quarterback. And then he is just so instinctive. When they make a play against him, you got Roy Williams cutting across the field, and he's got the awareness to put on the brakes and knock it out.
There's 3rd and 10 for the Cardinals with 4 wide receivers in and Tim Hightower, the running back. Warner throws short, and it's complete to Early Doucette, but short of the first down, up near the 45-yard line. And the Cardinals will be forced to punt.
And Brad Jones, rookie, is a guy that has really jumped onto the scene. Watch him turn the corner. Soft corner. They do a lot of it in Arizona. He is just going to show a bull rush and get Levi Brown to stop his feet and then disengage and get to the quarterback. That guy's been a nice shot in the arm for him. They lost Aaron Campman earlier in the year. They've had Brady Papinga and Brad Jones out there, and they've done a pretty good job of getting after the QB.
And Jones has been the surprise. Clay Matthews has come on, been a star, but Jones is surprised as well. Ben Graham with a strong leg, the high kick taken by Jordy Nelson. He's tripped up, and another Big punt by Ben Graham is down inside the 20. That's number 40 on the season. The NFL record is 42. Great punting by Ben Graham. Punting and punt coverage have been a strength of the Arizona Cardinals all season long. The strong left-footed kicking of Ben Graham. Great coverage by LaRod Stevens-Howling. He's been excellent, getting down the field and downing balls inside the 10. But Graham is approaching the NFL record held by Andy Lee of San Francisco, and it's Andy Lee who made the Pro Bowl just ahead of Ben Graham this season.
Yeah, Sam, he has been a huge weapon for this football team. The defense loves him.
Packers start from the 14. Rodgers gets time and finds a man. Donald Driver holds on. A big hit by Rashad Johnson. Check out Baltimore and Oakland. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Simplest playoff scenario of the day. Ravens win. They are in. Off to a good start here. Ray Rice, 27-yard run, set up a 2-yard touchdown by Willis McGahee, and the Ravens lead it 7-0 in the first quarter in Oakland. Sam and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. Boy, that Ray Rice, he has been something for the Baltimore Ravens. And as Kurt said, if Baltimore wins, they're in the playoffs as a wild card in the AFC. Ryan Grant goes wide and is forced out of bounds. Rashad Johnson is starting in place of Antrell Roll, the rookie out of Alabama, in his first NFL start.
Well, and they need him to play well. He's a guy that came in as a third-round pick. He was a two-time captain at Alabama, and that hasn't happened, I think, only twice in the history of Alabama. So he's a very good player. But when he got here, he was a little bit raw and a little bit behind. They actually put him down, made him inactive for a few games. And they're going to need him. Matt Ware got hurt several weeks ago. You talked about Roll's injury. Rashad Johnson's going to have to step it up and have a big game today and a big postseason for the Cardinals defense.
On 2nd and 7. It's Ryan Grant. And not much on that play. No gain on the play. Good work up front by the Cardinals defense. Alan Branch doing a good job in nose tackle, number 78.
I think we're going to see more of Will Davis in the game. And watch him right here, 59. He's inactive today. He's been inactive, dealing with an injury. And look at him fill the hole on Quinn Johnson, a 260-pound fullback. That is really good work by the rookie out of Illinois.
3 wide receivers. James Jones in. 3rd and 7. Amon Green in the backfield with Aaron Rodgers. The blitz coming. Rodgers steps up and completes it to Greg Jennings. First down, Packers at the 48-yard line. Boy, Rodgers, just a little move in the pocket, bought him some time to make that throw.
Well, that's what makes him so good, is he can throw in traffic under pressure in the pocket or out of the pocket. Man coverage down the field. They're bringing the blitz, and he knows where all of his outlets are. Greg Jennings out there on McFadden in man coverage comes back to the football. Well, that's the beauty of Aaron Rodgers and what he does on 3rd down. He is #1 in the National Football League. Look at that, 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the money down.
Jordy Nelson is a wide receiver. Off the play fake, Rodgers with time, goes up top. Going for Jordy Nelson. He's got it. He is down at the 1-yard line. He beat Michael Adams on the play, but a brilliant catch by Jordy Nelson. 51-yard play.
Well, watch the safety here. Jump the slot, which is going to leave the post route wide open. Perfect throw from Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. That's the matchup they've been going after here in the first quarter. What a great throw. It doesn't get any better than that from Aaron Rodgers. And since Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie went down early with the knee injury, it's been Michael Adams with the big crosshair on his chest. They've been going after him.
Ryan Grant at running back. They go quarterback sneak. Touchdown Packers. Aaron Rodgers takes it in. His 5th rushing touchdown of the season. And the Packers with an 86-yard drive following an opening drive of 69 yards.
Yeah, as soon as he goes up and over, crosses the plane, touchdown for Green Bay.
He broke the plane. Yep. He's in. Mason Crosby's extra point is good. And the Packers playing for the win.
Well, according to plan, it's been perfect so far. 2 drives for the Green Bay Packers.
Take a look at the playoff picture in the NFC. Who's hot? Philadelphia Eagles, except they're trailing in Dallas right now. Packers have won 6 out of 7, and they're leading. Dallas is a hot team looking to win the NFC East. New Orleans has lost their last 3 games of the season. And the Minnesota Vikings came up with a big win today, looking for the number 2 spot. The Arizona Cardinals, they're hoping to get win number 11 on the season. 10 wins for them. NFC Western Division champions 2 years in a row. But right now, trailing early 14-0 as you look at Laurent Stevens-Howling, ready to receive the kickoff.
Well, the playoffs in the NFC are going to be wild. I think when you look at all the teams that are in, and we know the 6 are in, just don't know the seeding, it's all high-octane offense. Yeah. It's amazing, this league. A month ago, everybody had Minnesota, New Orleans. Lock them in. They're going to be in the NFC Championship game. You certainly can't say that today.
Say a lot about the Green Bay Packers. They are really playing well. Rod Stevens-Howling brings it out and takes a hard hit as he's sandwiched at the 13-yard line. Big hit by Desmond Bishop, number 55. More football right here in this stadium tomorrow night as the Bowl Bash continues with the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. It's undefeated Boise State 13-0, undefeated TCU 12-0, and it all begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific in high def on Fox. 2 outstanding quarterbacks, sophomore Kellen Moore, junior Andy Dalton. It's going to be a good one, and we're going to be here to do it.
And don't rest on TCU's defense. They are the best in college football.
With 2 tight ends, Warner throws and completes to Anquan Bolden, who is out of bounds at the 23-yard line. A pickup of 10 on the play. As he closes in on 1,000 yards, he needs 4 more yards for 1,000 for the season. Give him 11 officially now. They've changed that, so he needs only 3. Tim Hightower in the backfield with Kurt Warner. Hightower leading all running backs in receptions this season. 3 wide receivers, and it's Hightower carrying up to the 27-yard line. Short pickup on the play. B.J. Raji, the defensive tackle, or the nose tackle, made the stop, starting in place of the injured Ryan Pickett, who should be okay for the playoffs.
Yeah, and Raji flashes now. He is a load on the inside. Mike McCarthy told us yesterday it's very, very important. They're number 1 right now in rush defense, and that they finished the season with a franchise record in terms of what they're doing on rush defense. They need to hold Arizona under 77 yards on the ground today.
Beanie Wells cutting it back, gets up to the 31-yard line. Bring up a 3rd and 3. Nick Barnett, the middle linebacker, with the tackle.
And I think that's the area, and we've talked about Arizona over the last couple of weeks, the emergence of their run game, and that guy right there, Chris Beanie Wells, the 1st-round pick out of Ohio State. And you just look at those numbers, first 8 games versus the last 7 games. Kenny Wisenhunt told us yesterday, or Friday, excuse me, he's definitely back from that ankle injury and ahead of a schedule in terms of what their expectations were out of the rookie.
4 wide receivers in on 3rd and 3. Warner gets time. His passes wide of Anquan Bolden. Charles Woodson was covering Bolden. Warner's pass a little off. And for the Cardinals, they haven't been able to sustain much offensively.
Let me tell you what Green Bay does more now than ever before with Dom Capers as the defensive coordinator, and it's showing up with the 27 interceptions on the season. They're playing much more zone. And when you're doing that with guys like Charles Woodson, who have great experience and are very savvy, guys like Nick Collins, when they can read the eyes of the quarterback and understand the route concepts and make breaks, it's a big reason why their turnovers have gone through the roof.
Strong leg of Ben Graham sends Jordy Nelson back to the 14. Trying to get outside. He does. Picked up a good block. And Nelson out of bounds as he gets to the 26-yard line.
And you look at their takeaways. Green Bay 37 this year, tied for 2nd most in the NFL. There's A.J. Hawk right there. We see again zone right there. Tramon Williams gets it. There's Charles Woodson making a big play. Here's Nick Collins in zone once again, facing the quarterback. Atari Bigby playing over the top, out of the zone. There's Woodson reading the eyes of the QB. 37 takeaways, 27 interceptions. That's most in the National Football League. The takeaways are second only behind New Orleans. New Orleans has 39 on the year.
Packers start from the 26, their third possession. The first two good drives for touchdowns. Off the play fake, Rodgers, plenty of time, waits, and tries to get it to Greg Jennings, and he dropped it. Michael Adams covering, Jennings juggled, tried desperately to hold on, and it fell to the turf. Michael Adams replacing the injured Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, banged up his knee on a play in the first possession of the game. Packers from the 27-yard line. 2nd and 10, 2 tight ends in. Aaron Rodgers with 119 yards passing. It's already matched the 3rd highest single season total in franchise history. Ryan Grant getting outside. Powerful runner with a good burst of speed. Gets up close to the first down line.
Another good block by Quinn Johnson, the fullback, the rookie. Now, he is a load when he comes out. One of those linebackers that time just locking up Chike O'Keefer. O'Keefer could not keep his outside arm free, and then Ryan Grant, for a big guy, he's got a lot of speed, Sam, when he hits the perimeter and got the first down.
Picked up 10 on the play. You see, thus far, the Packers have been balanced. Ryan Grant with a 10-yard pickup, a first down. We've come to the end of the first quarter. These two teams will play again in the playoffs next week, but the Packers have gotten off to a good start to set a tone. 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns, end of the first quarter. Packers lead the Cardinals 14-0. Sam Rosen, Tim Ryan, and our Fox crew here in Glendale, Arizona, as we start the second quarter. Packers with a 1st and 10 at their own 37-yard line. Ryan Grant with a cutback, gets up close to the 41. The offensive line has really been steady and solid last 7 games together, and they've run the ball well and protected Aaron Rodgers better the second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting Tauscher out there consistently has been a big part of that for him. I will say this. Look what they've done over the last 7 games versus the first 8. Tauscher's been a big part of it. I think the offensive guards have really played well. Darren College on the left and Josh Sitton in year number 2, the right guard, have really played well over the last 6 or 7 games.
Brandon Jackson in at running back for the Packers. Rodgers throws short to Donald Lee, the tight end, up to the 45. Now we're seeing Arizona's Ken Wisenhunt make some changes on defense. He's changing up, bringing his starters out and putting in some backups.
Yep, here's Donald Lee here. He's just going to cross the formation. Right in front of the zone, Aaron finds him. And that's easy. And let me tell you another thing, too, is Brandon Jackson, you see him right there, number 32. He has been a huge part of their pass protection on 3rd down. Aaron Rodgers could not say enough good things about his emergence in pass protection yesterday.
Here's 3rd and 2. Rodgers out of the shotgun. And the blitz pickup by Jackson, throwing deep for Greg Jennings, and the pass overthrown. Check out the first quarter stats, and you'll see that the Packers offensively 147 yards to only 37 for the Cardinals. 10 first downs to only 2. And the passing of Aaron Rodgers was outstanding. He's now 8 for 11. First punt of the game for Green Bay, Jeremy Kapanos. He's back to punt. Steve Preston deep for the Cardinals. Good high kick. Preston back at the 1-yard line. Why didn't he let it go? Steve Preston with a bad decision. A 54-yard punt. The Packers cover it well, and Preston caught it on the 1. Packers running the ball, passing the ball, and special teams as well.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Hyundai Assurance, a little certainty in uncertain times. By State Farm, to us, nothing's more important than being there. And by Coors Light, when the mountains turn blue, your beer is as cold as the Rockies and ready for kickoff.
Well, we talked about changes for Arizona. Kurt Warner's gone to the sideline, and Matt Leinart comes in. First offensive series of the second quarter, starting from the 2-yard line. Leinart's first action since the game in Tennessee, November 29th. When he passed for 220 yards, a tough loss in that game for Arizona, with Tennessee coming back to win that 20-17.
You're not going to block Johnny Jolly. He's over there against Levi Brown. You see 75 trying to block 97. No chance. Johnny Jolly is so underrated in the caliber of play. The guy was a 6th-round pick, and he makes plays everywhere. He's not a big guy in terms of getting sacks, but in the run game and the batted balls and all the stuff that he does for this defense, very underrated.
2 tight ends in, Beanie Wells in the backfield. Leinart to put it up. Under pressure, he dumps it off, incomplete. Threw it low with Nick Barnett, all over Beanie Wells.
And you look at Johnny Jolly, just talking about him, 12 batted balls this season. That is a Packer record. Look at that, week 1 versus Chicago. He intercepted a pass. The guy's everywhere in terms of what he does. You'll see that interception here in a second. But just watch him as he's rushing. He's got 2 guys in front of him. Gets his hands up, gets a bat down. That one gets picked. Then he picks his own against Chicago.
He was a basketball player in high school, so he knows how to block shots. Leinart on 3rd down and long throws. It's intercepted by Atari Bigby at the 20-yard line.
Sam, that's going to be 2 points for the Green Bay Packers. That's going to be a holding call in the end zone on Arizona on Clay Matthews as he was turning the corner, coming inside. That'll be 2 points for the Green Bay Packers.
Clay Matthews, who's become a tremendous pass rusher for these Green Bay Packers.
Number 74, offense. That foul occurred in the end zone. The result of the penalty is a safety.
There's Matthews. He comes underneath, and you watch Jeremy Bridges as he falls back inside. Now Reggie Wells has got to pick up Clay Matthews. You see him, grabs him around the neck. There's the hold. You get a penalty that's in the end zone on the offense. It's going to count as a safety.
So the Packers defense, instead of the interception, they pick up 2 points for the team.
What up, baby? What's the game plan? It's going down. Game plan, there's only one game plan, baby. That's for the Packers to win, and if we come back, we're going to do it again.
So far, so good for the Packers. That's their first safety scored since 2001. Nick Barnett, one of the leaders on the defense, which has been strong. It's now 16-0. Ben Graham kicks it away. It's Jordy Nelson taking it at the 23. Picks up a good block, and then he fights off a tackle and is pulled down at the 38-yard line. Next week, the playoffs begin, and we start on Fox with a wild card game. Check your local listings. Fox's coverage of the postseason begins next Sunday with a wild card game. Right now, this is what the playoff picture looks like. These 2 teams, Arizona and Green Bay, will definitely meet here in Arizona. The question mark still to be filled in, Philadelphia and Dallas. Philadelphia trailing Dallas 7-0, second quarter in Dallas. Ryan Grant breaks through. Good effort by Ryan Grant into Arizona territory down to the 48-yard line. Greg Toller pulled him down, a gain of 13 on the play.
Ryan Grant has had a couple of real big pops. It's going to go right here to the left side. It looks like Arizona's got it walled up pretty good, but watch the little tiny crease that he slips into. Got a missed tackle by Monty Beisel. He pops it to the next gap over, and I'm telling you, Ryan Grant, 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's got runs, Sam, of 50+.
The fake, the pass complete to Greg Jennings, out of bounds inside the 40 at the 39-yard line. Ryan Grant is the lead runner. We talked about him getting back-to-back seasons of over 1,200 yards. Last few weeks, he's broken loose against Pittsburgh, 24-yard touchdown run. Last week against Seattle, a 56-yard touchdown run. A couple of weeks ago against Chicago, he had a 62-yarder. He has become explosive. He is a threat, short yardage, and he's a threat to break them. 8 carries, 41 yards thus far in the game for Ryan Grant. And here he comes again, outside, stumbled as he crossed the 40, gets down to the 36-yard line.
Sam, I don't think he's becoming explosive. I think he's always been explosive, really. I mean, you go back to last year and what he was able to do. Heck, when they got him from the Giants for a 6th-round pick, he came in and played well. I think the biggest thing this year, and in particular over the last, when they've been winning and playing well, is there's been so many more or so many less negative plays, the penalties, the sacks, which really make it hard to stay with the running game. You couple that with how well their defense has played, and his touches have been up, as has his yards.
Rodgers, little pressure, goes screen pass to John Kuhn, the fullback, and Kuhn takes it down to the 32-yard line. Packers have 3 fullbacks. Corey Hall is down today. Quinn Johnson, John Kuhn. They've got guys who can come in and block, but also catch the football out of the backfield.
Well, and they use them differently than a lot of other teams are using their fullbacks. We'll see a lot of what they call their rhino package. We haven't seen it in this game, but we've seen it all year long, which is really what they call their bone offensively. They got 2 fullbacks and a running back together in the backfield.
2nd and 6. And it's Ryan Grant with a little cutback and some hard running. Gets down to the 27-yard line. Bring up a 3rd and 1. There's the defensive coordinator of the Cardinals, Billy Davis.
Well, and I think you look at Billy, and he learned so much from Dom Capers. You know, he spent the first 7 years of his career coaching under Dom Capers. Went to Carolina with Dom Capers, coached the outside linebackers. There's Dom there, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. He said he just learned so much in terms of the teaching aspect of being a defensive coach. He said, Dom will start from square one. He said, you ask one thing about the defense, and Dom Capers starts you on baby steps. I think Billy has got a very, very bright future as a coordinator in the NFL.
Here's Amon Green looking for first down yardage, fighting his way close to the first down line. Amon Green, the all-time leading runner in Green Bay Packers history. Back for the 2nd time, signed earlier this season as a free agent. Has been a nice little backup to Ryan Grant. Brandon Jackson, as you noted before, has been a good addition.
They got so many different guys with skill sets. That's the thing. I mean, you got Ryan Grant, who's the slasher. You got Amon Green, who's clearly the power running guy. And then you got Brandon Jackson, who's the scat back, 3rd down stuff, and an excellent pass protector.
And up for the first down from Amon Green at the 26-yard line.
And it really gives Mike McCarthy there all kinds of weapons to go to. Talking about those guys, they got the power run game with the big fullbacks. They got now the wide receiving tight end with the emergence of Jermichael Finley. He is loaded with weapons in their arsenal offensively.
We've seen different approaches thus far in the first half to this game. The Packers have gone with their starters all the way. Ken Whisenhunt has changed up on offense and defense. Brandon Jackson in at running back for the Packers here on first down. Everybody out. Pass complete to Jermichael Finley, the tight end. And what a weapon he is. He's got a first down inside the 15.
Well, and this is what Finley can do. They can split him out wide. Off coverage, it's easy. I mean, they're just going to run a slant right in front of the safety, Hamza Abdullah. And when they walk a safety out to Jermichael Finley, when they split him out wide right there, Aaron Rodgers knows immediately, Sam, that's the mismatch. That's his pre-snap read, especially when he sees the off coverage. That's stealing for Aaron Rodgers and Jermichael Finley.
Finley, 52 catches this season. You see Rodgers 11 for 14. Ryan Grant behind Quinn Johnson, bounces it outside, and Rashad Johnson up for a tackle. Let's check in on the Eagles and the Cowboys. Here's Kurt Menefee.
That battle for first place in the NFC East going all the way to the Cowboys so far. Patrick Creighton with the 2nd touchdown pass that Tony Romo has thrown. That put Dallas up 14-0 in a dominating performance. In fact, Sam and Tim, the Eagles have 45 yards of total offense so far midway through the 2nd quarter.
Thanks, Kurt. Well, you ask who are the hot teams? Certainly the Dallas Cowboys are maybe the hottest team. Three wide receivers in. On second down, Rodgers completes to James Jones at the 9-yard line. Greg Toller with the coverage on the play.
Arizona's got a lot of their backups out there now resting their key players, but I know when you play against Aaron Rodgers, starter or not, you're not going to see a lot of guys playing a lot of man coverage against him. And I'll tell you why. He is an underrated runner. One thing people don't know is he leads the NFL in rushing for quarterbacks. And you want to play man coverage against Aaron Rodgers and tune your back to him, he'll kill you with his feet.
See this, what an accomplishment for Aaron Rodgers. Brandon Jackson in the backfield. On third down, Rodgers gets time, throws for the end zone, incomplete, out of bounds. Good effort by James Jones, but he came down out of bounds, covered by Greg Toller. Toller, a rookie out of small St. Paul's College, getting a chance to play again as Ken Wisenhunt and Billy Davis make some changes defensively, taking some of the starters out. Mason Crosby comes in to attempt a field goal. This will be a 26-yard attempt. Crosby's kick is right through. Mason Crosby had a stretch where he had gone 4 consecutive games missing a field goal in each game. Got his confidence back last week with a couple and hits here early to give Green Bay a 19-0 lead. If you're just joining us, the Arizona Cardinals had a key injury. Their starting cornerback, Pro Bowler Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, hurt his knee in the first series.
That's right. And then Michael Adams comes in, and Aaron Rodgers immediately went after him. You got a pass interference there. Then the big deep hookup on a post route to Jordy Nelson. And Ken Wisenhunt now, and there's Cromartie right there, showed his injury early. And Ken Wisenhunt now has really sat most of his starters down. Now, one group that is going to go is the offensive line. Right. We're going to see those guys, and Russ Grimm told us the other day, we're going to play most of the game. Our guys need to do it up front.
Mason Crosby kicks it off. Good strong kick, 5 yards deep. LaRod Stevens-Howling takes a knee. Arizona Cardinals yet to get anything going offensively in this last game of the regular season. Packers have the big lead. Fox's Bowl Bash continues tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Boise State and TCU in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Tuesday night, it's the FedEx Orange Bowl, Iowa and Georgia Tech. The Bowl Bash started good, and it's going to finish with some great action. It all begins tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, only on Fox.
I'm telling you, I've watched all the bowl games. There is, in my mind, not a better matchup going into the game than the TCU-Boise State game.
You're biased because you're going to do that game.
It'll be wild.
Looking forward to it. We're staying right here. Tim and I are staying in the booth until that game starts. Leinart to Fitzgerald. Short pickup. He's wrapped up by A.J. Hawk. And thrown back. Pickup of 2 on the play. First catch of the game for Larry Fitzgerald.
I will say this, advantage to the Green Bay Packers, clearly not just on the scoreboard up 19-0, but how they are really dominating the Arizona Cardinals in all phases of the game right now, offense, defense, and special teams. And I'm telling you, if this game goes and finishes and there's a whole bunch of ball left and Green Bay wins it, it is a huge, to me, it's huge in terms of the benefit in their psyche in winning, finishing 7 of 8 versus Arizona, who at that point will have finished the season 3-3 in their last 6 games.
Leinart, who started the second quarter, gets picked up, throws outside, completes to Preston. He's got a first down. Forward progress up to the 33-yard line. Tramon Williams wrapped him up. When, if you're Mike McCarthy, do you start pulling back some of those starters?
Well, listen to some of these hits here as A.J. Hawk comes over and just cleans up Steve Preston. I think in the second half, Sam, when you're comfortably ahead, if it turns out that way, and you feel pretty good that the win is in hand, you'll see McCarthy sit his guys down. Not until then.
Tim Hightower.
It's out.
Ball popped loose. I believe he was down. But the play continues, so no, it's ruled a fumble. And And Nick Barnett recovered and carried down to the 12-yard line. Carl Cheffers checking it out.
Yeah, I think the ground causes this. I think his elbow hits the ground, which forces the ball out.
Second down.
Yep.
Down by contact is the ruling.
And Hightower has had some ball security issues. Watch here as he's going to cut back to his left. Watch his right elbow. He's carrying the ball in his right hand. He goes down, elbow hits the ground. He's down, forces the ball out. That's a good call by the official.
They mark forward progress to the across the 30-yard line to the 32. Beanie Wells has come in, and certainly that is a concern for Arizona. They have fumbled 18 times, lost 18 fumbles this season, most in the NFL.
They came into this game with 33 turnovers. And then you think of Green Bay on the other side having forced 37. That will be a huge matchup in next wee's game.
Quick drop by Leiter to pass intercepted by Charles Woodson. His 9th of the season. He's got a big return on. Down the sideline. He's in. Touchdown. Charles Woodson has had a tremendous season.
Oh, look at that sign. That's great.
His 3rd return for a touchdown.
Woodson out to the right of your screen. He is just going to beat Fitzgerald to the football. Fitzgerald had a slant going. Charles got right in front of it, reading the eyes of the quarterback, Matt Leinart. That's his 3rd touchdown of the season for Charles Woodson after an interception. I'll tell you what I was amazed about is talking to him yesterday, and he is so big for a corner. Guy, obviously a great athlete winning the Heisman Trophy, but he's a lot bigger than people think.
Extra point is good. Packers defense has now put 9 points on the board. A safety and a touchdown.
Now remember I told you, when these guys can look at the quarterback, look where his eyes are, right on Matt Leinart, and look at him, he's just going to beat him right to the catch point. Cuts off Larry Fitzgerald, and then he's got great hands to get the interception. Interception number 9 on the season for Woodson.
45th of his career, 28 as a Green Bay Packer.
I'll tell you what was amazing is when he came over from Oakland, remember he had all those injuries at the end for the Raiders? A lot of people thought his best years were behind him. You know, maybe Charles Woodson is done in terms of being that shutdown corner, that Pro Bowl corner. Could not be farther from the truth. He's playing his best football now at 33 years old.
And Green Bay was the only team that he had to come to.
Yep.
A lot of teams lost interest because of those injuries. And for the Green Bay Packers, their turnover margin is now a plus 23. Their franchise record is 24. 1969.
How about the job Dom Capers has done teaching these guys the 3-4 defense, where they were after a couple of weeks versus where they all are now. And they all said, Sam, it was that Dallas game. After the Tampa game, their backs were against the wall. Everything started to click, and they have not looked back.
We saw the Tampa game, and we wondered what's going to happen to Green Bay at 4-4. Rod Stevens howling on the return for Arizona. Trying to get it outside. Packers have it covered. Tramon Williams wraps him up at the 20-yard line. Turnovers, certainly a big factor when you look at big games. As far as the teams in the NFC, Green Bay is a plus 23. They've only lost the ball 15 times, turned it over. So they are a plus 23 with their 38 takeaways this season. And you saw Arizona, that's not a good number. They're in the minus factor. 2 tight ends in. Beanie Wells in the backfield. Matt Leinart, the quarterback. Wells, nothing there.
Look at Big Jolly.
Johnny Jolly, Cullen Jenkins up front doing the job. Offensive line for the Cardinals has stayed intact. There's Big Johnny Jolly.
Let me tell you what the good players do in pro football is they're never on the ground. Look at Jolly as he just crosses the face of Sendeline right there on Beanie Wells, makes the tackle. You got to make plays in this league as a defensive lineman. You got to have great balance, very athletic, stay on your feet. Jolly does all of that.
Beanie Wells at running back. Leinart With time, finds the tight end Steven Spock with lots of room. He's taken down by Atari Bigby across the 40 to the 42-yard line. 22-yard pickup on the play. Matt Leinart, who got extensive playing time in that game against Tennessee when he started in place of Kurt Warner, who was out with a concussion at the time, concussion syndrome. Kurt lifted here after the first quarter, and Leinart getting good playing time. Has 4 wide receivers in. Early Doucette in as a 4th wide out. Tim Hightower in the backfield. Anquan Bolden motions. Leinart gets time, throws deep for Preston, overthrows him. Preston had room. He was behind Brandon Underwood, the rookie out of Cincinnati, who's in at cornerback.
Well, Leinart, after throwing that last interception to Charles Woodson, thought twice about this one because he wanted Anquan Bolden on an out route. And as soon as he saw Jarrett Bush break on that out route, you saw the indecision of Leinart. He pulled it back down, afraid of making another critical error, and then tried to hit it for the big one down the field.
So Aaron Rodgers talking with Matt Flynn, the backup quarterback of the Packers. I'm sure we'll see Matt Flynn before too long. Hightower on the carry. Good run. Strong run for a first down into Packers territory, down to the 47-yard line, a pickup of 11.
And this is the staple run for the Arizona Cardinals. Watch Reggie Wells right here. He's going to pull out and get the kick-out block. They call it the G-Power. There's the block right there on the linebacker, Nick Barnett. You get the fullback up in there first, and here it's Steven Spock. He gets the block down. Then there's the kick out by Wells, and you saw the running lane or the crease for Timmy Hightower right in between them.
17 yards rushing thus far for Arizona. And that time, Beanie Wells ran into his own man and went down. Maybe a loss of a yard on the play as we come to the 2-minute warning. The Green Bay Packers plan on keeping on rolling to the playoffs. And they've rolled to a 26-0 lead here in the second quarter.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Visa. Visa debit is easier than cash. More people go with Visa.
What's the playoff picture look like? Well, New Orleans is at 13-3, finishing up with 3 losses. Minnesota with a win today, and right now they could get a bye in the first round because Dallas is leading Philadelphia 17-0 as they approach halftime in Dallas.
Has Brett Favre exploded from the second half against Chicago and what he was able to do today? Oh my goodness.
He tore the Giants apart. 4 wide receivers in for Arizona on 2nd and 11. Everybody out. Leinart gets time, and he finds Anquan Bolden down to the 31-yard line. Good protection up front. Looks like the offensive line.
And it looks like Charles Woodson got nicked as he was trying to make the tackle on Anquan Bolden.
He gets up holding that right arm to his body. For Anquan Bolden, he's over 1,000 yards receiving for the 5th time in his career.
Here's Woodson there. They're just going to run a deep in cut in front of him with Bolden. And as he's making the tackle, he slips out and goes down, and that's where it looked like something got nicked on his right arm.
Woodson hurting, goes to the sideline. Timeout Green Bay. And of course, all injuries now become a cause for concern because we know that these 2 teams will be playing each other here in Arizona next week in the wild card round of the playoffs.
And offensively, it's going to be so much base for Arizona, and defensively, they're not going to show anything in this game. And Ken Wisenhunt told us the other day that they're saving that game plan for the real matchup if it ends up being Green Bay, and now we know that it's going to be. Yeah, that's right where Woodson, something happened as he slipped out and he lost his feet and reached back for Bolden. That's when something happened, and that typical movement right there is trying to deal with the right shoulder.
So you had 2 Pro Bowl quarterbacks injured in this game. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie of Arizona and Charles Woodson. That pass is intercepted by Atari Bigby. Bigby on the return. He had one canceled out earlier by a safety. This one counts as Leinart throws his second interception of the game. And the Packers continue to find the picks.
He's trying to get Doucette right down the seam. He throws it too high and behind early Doucette. And again, that zone coverage, Atari Bigby, there he is. He's reading the quarterback as he slips because that ball is not well placed in terms of its location. Doucette's trying to contort his body. He slips and falls down. Bigby sitting in the zone. Interception number 4 on the year.
And 29 for the Packers this season. 2 in the game. One by Woodson, one by Bigby. Ball at the 16-yard line. John Kuhn at fullback. Brandon Jackson, the running back. And Aaron Rodgers still in at quarterback. It's Jackson. And the good blocking up front helps him gain yardage up to the 21-yard line. That is tied the franchise margin, if it stays that way, as far as turnovers are concerned.
Well, look, and the defense has been great, obviously, and being plus 24. But this offense has been as good as they've ever been as well, with only 15 turnovers coming into the game today. Their ball security,
that's right,
from Aaron Rodgers has been really second to none this season.
Rodgers has thrown only 7 interceptions. Woodson, a shoulder injury on the sideline, questionable to return. I would think that they'd probably keep him out for precautionary reasons. Brandon Jackson brought down at the 25-yard line, about a yard short of the first down. As time winds down in the first half, and that'll be it. The Packers say that's enough. Mike McCarthy's got to be very pleased with everything going so well. Coming up next, it's the Visa Halftime Report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy, scores and highlights. Check out your fantasy league with our Fox Sports ticker. We're at halftime with the Packers leading the Cardinals 26-0. We are back in Glendale, Arizona, moments away from the start of the second half. Green Bay Packers with the big lead. They have played this game seriously from the start. All their starters in, and their offense and defense have performed very, very well.
Well, they've been incredibly good. Now, I would expect them up 26-0 to start sitting some of their guys down here in the second half and not showing too much from a game plan standpoint. But Aaron Rodgers has been absolutely terrific. Obviously, defensively, Sam, they've gotten after it. Woodson doing his thing. Now, he got nicked with a little bit of an injury. And then Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie getting hurt early for the Arizona Cardinals was a big blow to that football team.
The Cardinals will receive the kickoff to start the second half. Mason Crosby kicks it off. Strong kick. Rod Stevens howling brings it back. And gets up to the 19-yard line where he's brought down. Green Bay taking control early.
And Ryan Grant gets it started. Big blocks by Quinn Johnson, his fullback. Then Aaron Rodgers, Sam, over the top with a quarterback sneak. Here's a safety because Clay Matthews got held in the end zone. Reggie Wells held him. That's 2 points. And then here's Charles Woodson reading the quarterback, beating Larry Fitzgerald to the throw point, and he takes it to the house. House call number 3 on the season for Charles Woodson. That is his 3rd pick 6.
Tying a franchise record for most touchdown interceptions returned for a touchdown in the season. Off the play fake. Leinart went to Hightower, and Hightower gets up close to the 25-yard line. Matt Leinart took over, started the second quarter.
And here is Tramon Williams out on Larry Fitzgerald, and he's got help over the top. See how he gets a little jam there, can play from a trail position, knowing that that guy right there is going to help him. Nick Collins over the top, giving him safety help. I'm sure that'll be a big part of their game plan when it's for real next week. And trying to put 2 guys in that playoff game, Sam, on Larry Fitzgerald.
Packers start to make some changes. Jared Bush is in the secondary. They've got Brady Papinga in at linebacker. Pressure on Leinart, and his pass is broken up by Nick Barnett. Intended for Anquan Bolden. Good pressure. Clay Matthews was there.
Talking about Larry Fitzgerald, and this is the Fitzgerald effect, and what happens when you double team Larry Fitzgerald. You see there, you got a safety over the top, you got a corner in front of him. You'll see a good look at it here. He sees it every week. Corner behind him, safety over the top, and then here's the effect of it. You got Anquan Bolden on the other side. He's going to get manned up. You're also going to empty out the box and get a numbers advantage and have the ability to run it with Tim Hightower and Beanie Wells. That's the effect of Larry Fitzgerald. Whether or not he's getting the ball, Sam, or not, he has a big factor on the game plan.
With 6 defensive backs in, that pass gets through to Anquan Bolden for a first down. Good throw by Matt Leinart, just short of the 35-yard line. Pickup of 10 on the play. And that was part of the Fitzgerald effect.
That's right. People are going to cloud up, what they call cloud up, put 2 guys on Fitz. And Bolden is going to get his opportunity in the one-on-one matchups. And most of the time underneath, which you saw there in the medium-range passing game, he is going to beat guys.
Fitzgerald has only 1 catch in the game. They'd like to get him 3 more for 1,000 for 100 this season. Beanie Wells, short pickup, maybe a yard on the play. B.J. Raji, the rookie out of Boston College, coming up to make the tackle. Johnny Jolly there as well. They've got the big guys up front have done a good job. Couple of them out right now. Ryan Pickett missed a couple of games. They expect him to be ready next week for the playoffs. Mike Montgomery is out. He too expected to be ready next week.
So impressed with this defense. You see there 16 rushing yards for Arizona today. The magic number for Green Bay is 77. They hold Arizona, Sam, under 77 yards rushing. That'll be a franchise record for them on defense in terms of how strong they've been in the run D.
Screen pass, Jason Wright. A couple of yards, and he is brought back. And a couple of yard pickup. Johnny Jolly, the first man to wrap him up. I like that name, Johnny Jolly. Around Christmas time, he's got to be the man.
Could he fit down your chimney, Sam?
He's played well. You know what? They brought in, they brought in B.J. Raji as a first-round draft pick, and he's worked harder this season to maintain his playing time. 6 defensive backs in for the Packers. On 3rd and 9. Leinart being rushed. Throws a little high, and it's dropped. Bolden went up to try and make a one-handed catch, and he came down and he's shaken up on the play. And he's limping. Nick Collins on the coverage. And that's another bad sign. One of your top players hurting as he goes to the sideline. Bolden went up trying to make the grab and came down awkwardly here.
Here's the end of the play as he comes down. Yeah, you could see he came down awkward on his left leg, and it looked like his ankle gave out on him as his body weight went over the top.
Ben Graham booms one. Jordy Nelson lets it go. It bounces down, and it will be downed at the 6-yard line. Another Graham punt is down inside the 20. That gives him 41. He's 1 short of the NFL record.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag, it's on. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by the Ford F-150, built Ford tough.
Back in Glendale, Arizona, Green Bay Packers stay with their starting offense. Aaron Rodgers has gone all the way. Offensive line the same. Wide receivers, Ryan Grant and John Kuhn, the backs. Rodgers out of the end zone, puts it up deep for Greg Jennings. Overthrown, double coverage on the play by Greg Toller and Rashad Johnson, 2 rookie defensive backs.
Mike McCarthy told us he wanted to keep the rhythm going, keep the foot on the gas pedal, and keep that hot streak going. He said there's a real vibe, and Aaron Rodgers told us the same thing. There's a great vibe after you win games in this league, especially when you can stack them up. Look at that throw and how far it goes. Just a great illustration of the arm strength of Aaron Rodgers off of his back foot. He didn't even step into that one. and it went about 50 yards.
So Donnell Dockett, the Pro Bowl defensive tackle, he's on the sideline. Adrian Wilson, Pro Bowl safety, hasn't played at all for Arizona. That pass complete to Jermichael Finley. The tight end with another grab. He's got a first down up to the 17, a pickup of 11 on the play. And boy, when Finley is healthy, has he been a great weapon as a receiving tight end.
Unbelievable weapon. And every time you talk to Aaron Rodgers, McCarthy, anybody on the football team, they just get a big smile talking about Jermichael Finley. And they all say the same thing. He's young. He's young. But my goodness, is he a terrific player. He has been the #1 target for their offense over the last 7 weeks.
Brandon Jackson ran into a wall. Pickup of a yard on the play. And you're right, Finley is young. He's 22, second-year man out of Texas, and drafted last year in the 3rd round, and he's provided excellent receiving from the tight end position.
He's just so versatile. They can do so much with him. They split him out. They want to put a safety on him. He's just too athletic. They want to put a corner on him. He's too big. You put a linebacker on him, forget about it. That's a mismatch. Aaron Rodgers told us yesterday that he has got, Driver, Jenny, they've got good wideouts. They said Finley has got the best hands on the team.
3 wide receivers in. That pass complete to James Jones. He's pulled down at the 22-yard line by Hamza Abdullah, who's playing safety.
Let me tell you what the good quarterback's doing. Aaron Rodgers is all over it. They get a passing lane, and they open up windows with either movement or just with their eyes. And look at the one here in between the center and the guard. Good throwing lane, and then he'll find one as he moves his legs. He'll find a throwing lane to the outside as he just takes a couple steps to the right. Just managing the pocket, and he's very, very good at doing that, knowing where the pass rush lanes are for the defensive linemen, and just the feel, Sam, of where to step up and find his vision point and throwing lane before he gets rid of the ball.
He is 92 yards away from the single-season record passing yardage. That short pass to Brandon Jackson turns into a nice gain up to the 40-yard line and a first down. Brandon Jackson, who's shown he can run the ball, can also catch it and make something happen after the catch, a gain of 17.
He's done a real good job on 3rd down this season since he's been healthy. Here he is here in the screen. The line is actually late getting out. See, the line's not even out there yet, but look at the patience by Brandon Jackson. He sets up that block and then sets up the block by Josh Sitton as he got down the field to pick up some extra yards.
Jordy Nelson in as a 4th wide receiver for the Packers. On first down, empty backfield, everybody out. And pass to Donald Driver kind of took him out of bounds. Short pickup up to the 43-yard line. Donald Driver went over 1,000 yards.
There's Charles Woodson,
who was injured earlier in the game. He has wrapped up his day. Green in at running back. Jermichael Finley motions. Blitz coming. Green carrying. And brought down from behind as he gets up to the 47-yard line. These two teams will meet here next week in one of the wild card round games, and if the score holds up in Dallas, Dallas is leading Philadelphia 17-0 in the 3rd quarter, then Philadelphia will have to go to Dallas next week.
They'll rematch as well. That's right. There's Woodson, and it's the right shoulder that he's got ice on. That was the injury that he got, Sam, in the first half.
Aaron Rodgers has hit 8 different receivers in this game, and now within 72 yards of the single-season passing yardage record for the Packers. Rodgers rolls, looks, and that pass is incomplete. I believe. No, they're saying a catch. I thought that James Jones was out of bounds. It's ruled a catch at the 44-yard line of Arizona.
Nice job by James staying in bounds. Good job by this guy, buying time, extending the play out to the right. That's where Aaron Rodgers is lethal. And that's, as you see, the knee looked like it was down in bounds as he caught the ball. As you see this team in the playoffs next week, and as they continue, if they win, everyone will try to hem up Aaron Rodgers and keep him from escaping to his right, where he crushes people.
Ahman Green down to the 41-yard line. This is a Green Bay Packers team that, if they win and hold on to this lead, They will finish the second half of the season 7-1, and that one loss was a game in which Pittsburgh won it right at the end on a tremendous catch in the end zone, but it could have been a Green Bay win, and they could have gone 8-0 to finish the season.
Yeah, it's hard to find a weak spot in this Packer football team right now. It really is.
Rodgers short drop. Pass complete to Donald Driver. Let's see where they give him forward progress. It'll be close to the first down line. And it's a favorable spot for the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers is just so darn good with his ball location and knowing where to throw the ball and really to throw guys open. There's a lot of times when receivers will be covered, but because of where the defender is playing the receiver, Aaron Rodgers will throw the guy open, whether it be a backdoor, back shoulder throw. He's just so good at being able to key and diagnose where the defender is and then be able to exploit it.
Now he needs 260 to get that single season record. He's at 203. They run it with Amon Green, squeezes through and gets down to the 31-yard line. Word from the Arizona bench, Anquan Bolden has a left ankle injury and will certainly not return. He was trying to walk it off, but he is done for the day. And got a wrap on the knee, but they're checking out that left ankle too. They're going to wrap that up.
Yeah, he came down very awkward in front of the safety when he tried to go out and get that ball, and came down, his left leg buckled out from under him, and he fell down funny awkwardly on top of it.
This drive started at the 6, and the Packers move inside the 20. On the completion to Donald Driver, his 6th catch of the game. He's caught passes in 127 consecutive games.
Well, and here's the passing lane, and it's just a seam inside. He's going to get inside of a linebacker in Monty Beisel. He's got no chance to cover Donald Driver, and Aaron Rodgers, again, knowing where the matchup is pre-snap. When he saw Monty Beisel out there on Driver, he knew right away he was going to get him on the inside route. And Driver, once again, as he's done his whole career, doing the dirty work over the middle.
3 wide receivers. Jordy Nelson in as the 3rd. Drop it off to Brandon Jackson. Couple of blockers. Jackson inside the 10, out of bounds at the 5. Jackson doing a good job of following the blockers. Josh Sitton was out there, pickup of 12 on the play to help lead him down the sideline.
And very, very patient. Now 30 yards away, Sam, from that record for Aaron Rodgers.
The franchise record of 4,458 yards set in 1983 by Lynn Dickey. This is the 14th play of this drive. 1st and goal at the 5. 3 wide receivers. Rodgers, the fade to Jermichael Finley. Touchdown. He's 6'5", and he went against 6-foot Greg Toller and used his height advantage decidedly.
Well, we said it a little while ago at the start of this drive. You put a corner out there on him, you better forget about it. He's just too big. Here comes the blitz. They block it up, so now Aaron knows he's got man coverage to the outside. Again, perfect ball location, up and high, where only Finley can go up and get it. And then you saw a good illustration of his hands, how he just plucks it out of the air.
The Packers put another 7 on the board. That's the 30th touchdown pass of the season thrown by Aaron Rodgers. Packers with a big, big lead. Tomorrow night, Fox's Bowl Bash continues. It's the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. 2 undefeated teams, Boise State and TCU, match up. 2 highly ranked national teams go at it in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. It begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific in high def on Fox. From the 22, Hightower and Laurent Stevens howling in the backfield with Leonard. He completes to Fitzgerald, breaks a tackle, and gets a first down up to the 29. Talking Fiesta Bowl, Kyle Wilson, the outstanding cornerback and leader, senior leader, and Jerry Hughes, the superb defensive end with 11.5 sacks. for TCU. Purple Fever and the blue and orange Broncos.
And Kyle Wilson, the only guy that's really got the experience of being on the big stage for Boise State. He started at corner in that game 3 years ago when they beat Oklahoma here in the Fiesta Bowl.
Jarius Wynn, number 94 in the defensive end for the Packers. Here's Tim Hightower busting through and pushing the pile. Let's check out what's happening between Kansas City and Denver. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Despite that 6-0 start, the Broncos need to win today and get help to make the playoffs. They're doing their best against Kansas City. Brandon Lloyd with a 44-yard reception set up a 1-yard score from Noshawn Moreno, and they're all tied at 17 in the third quarter with KC. Sam and Tim?
Thanks very much, Kurt. Baltimore is winning in Oakland 14-10 in the third quarter. If Baltimore wins, they're in. Tonight, the Jets play home against Cincinnati. Jets win, and they're in. Very simple in the AFC. Rod Stevens-Howling splits out. Leinart gets time. Now he's pressured. Throws short to Hightower, and a good hit by the rookie Brandon Underwood. Right as he caught it.
I don't know what Levi Brown's doing out there, but it looked like he took his helmet off and threw it on the ground after Clay Matthews spun off of him and hit Matt Leinart.
And normally that would be a penalty.
Yeah, that should be a penalty. You can't take your helmet off in the field of play during a play. There he is right there. Watch Levi Brown. No, he was mad that he had Jones had his elbow up all in his grill. That's what he was irritated about.
That definitely should be a penalty. Jeremy Urban in at wide receiver. The Rod Stevens-Howling in motion on third and short. Leinart's pass was complete to Urban, and he's got a first down. Hit hard as he made the catch by Jared Bush, but it's enough for an Arizona first down.
Watch the pass rush here. Watch this guy, Clay Matthews. 10 sacks on the year. Watch his ability to dip under Jeremy Bridges and keep his balance, stay on his feet. Force Leinart to get the ball out immediately, which is going to set the wide receiver up for a big hit. Clay Matthews has had a superb rookie season rushing the passer.
First down from the 45, two tight ends in. On the carry, Beanie Wells, a good run, he busts through into the secondary. Matt Giordano stood him up. Flag comes in after the tackle as Beanie Wells gets down to the Green Bay 38-yard line. Run of 17 yards. Larry Fitzgerald seems a little upset. Let's see what's coming up. It's going to be against Arizona. We can't hear Carl. There we go.
After the play was over, unnecessary roughness. Number 73 offense, 15-yard penalty. The result of the play was a first down.
Jeremy Bridges.
Looks like he's coming in. You'll see him here as they go down. Bridges, 73, comes in late and really piles on his own guy. Yeah. And Lyle Sendeline. Just they're not going to allow any cheap shots. The old days of jumping on the pile late are over.
So take that ball back from the 38-yard line of Green Bay back into Arizona territory at the 47. Offensive line, first starters, has stayed in for Arizona throughout the game. Leinart throws, and it's incomplete, almost picked off by Tramon Williams as he stepped in front of Larry Fitzgerald.
Back to Clay Matthews and what he's done. Look what he does from his outside linebacker position versus the run. Does a great job of keeping his leverage, explodes on the running back. You're not going to outflank him. He's got the speed to be able to catch up. Power against a tight end. Just put that tight end on his back. He's got the speed versus the tackle. So he runs by Jared Gaither right there. And then the football instincts. This is a touchdown against Adrian Peterson in week 4. The guy was only a one-year starter at USC, has such a huge upside. His football instincts are outstanding.
Quick out too early, Doucette. And Doucette gets into Green Bay territory, looking at Clay Matthews, who's had an outstanding rookie season, 10 sacks. And, you know, we talked about the improvement of the defense in the second half, and that's been a big factor, getting pressure on the quarterback, and Clay Matthews has led the way.
Yeah, and I think he's so well coached by that guy right there, Kevin Green, who played for Dom Capers, as you know, in Pittsburgh and down in Carolina. And Kevin has really done a terrific job teaching those young outside linebackers the ability and the importance of rushing the passer off the edge.
3rd and 3. They spread the offense. They go to Doucette. He fights off one tackle and looks like he's got a first down. He does at the 42-yard line. Good effort by Early Doucette.
And they need him to explode in the postseason. He got his first touchdown last week against the Rams. And what they like about him here in year number 2 is he brings a physical presence. He was a 3rd-round pick coming out of LSU, and he's a very good blocker in the run game and can run after the catch.
We've come to the end of the 3rd quarter. Final game of the regular season. The Green Bay Packers dominating, leading the Arizona Cardinals 33-0. Happy birthday, Tay, a Cardinal fan, 5 years old. Very nice. And there are her older sisters on the field. Sam Rosen, Tim Ryan, the Fox NFL crew. Glad you're with us. We start the 4th quarter. And the final game of the regular season. Flag on the play in the Arizona backfield. The short pass caught by Tim Hightower. And we check out the flag.
Number 73, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Jeremy Bridges, we said it last week in the game we did here against the Rams. Jeremy Bridges, who's filling in for Mike Gandy, who's injured and done for the season. That's a key man playing left tackle for Arizona.
Well, and they need him to play better. And that time it was Clay Matthews turning the corner on him again. I'll tell you what Arizona does is they do so much of what you call scat protection, which means you got the 2 offensive tackles that are on short corners. They don't have tight ends next to them. A lot of times with all the empty they go, there's not even a running back to come help out in the chip. So those short corners make it very, very difficult on those offensive tackles in the one-on-one matchups.
2 running backs who both split wide, Hightower and Wright. Pressure on Leinart. He throws short to Preston, and he's pulled down as he got to midfield. They'll give him forward progress just across the midfield stripe. A.J. Hawk, who's gone all the way. A lot of the Green Bay starters have come all the way, and that's the way Mike McCarthy planned on playing this game. They know these same two teams will meet here next week. Green Bay will leave here after the game, go home, go through their regular routine, and whether they play Saturday or Sunday is yet to be determined. But they'll be back here for the first playoff game. Off the play fake, draw play to Hightower. And he's tripped up on a good tackle on the outside by Josh Bell, the 2nd-year man out of Baylor.
There's Russ Grimm there, the offensive line coach, who talked about his offensive tackles and talked about the ability to motivate them and how you motivate guys like Jeremy Bridges. Look, Jeremy Bridges has been in the league 7 years. He's mostly been a guard. But Russ knows that's all they've got. That's all they've got at left tackle. They're going to have to ride with him. So he says you continue to coach the guy and you continue to tell the guy, we trust you, we know you can do it.
The running game for Arizona, which has picked up as the season has gone along, has been fairly quiet in this game. Hightower takes a hard hit from Nick Barnett as he caught that pass, but he dropped it. It's ruled incomplete. But that was a hard hit on Hightower. It comes to the sideline.
And guys keep getting just drilled by Green Bay's defense. I think enough of Larry Fitzgerald in the football game. If you're Ken Wisenhunt, get your studs out, because Green Bay is flying around and they are laying that helmet on everybody as soon as they catch the football.
Now Ben Graham, if he can drop one inside the 20, would tie an NFL record held by Andy Lee of San Francisco. Graham way up in the air, heading for the sideline. It bounces out of bounds, and I believe they'll spot it at the 16-yard line. Yes, and that is number 42 inside the 20 this season for Ben Graham, tying the NFL record. He is some kind of punter.
Today's game is sponsored by Youth in Revolt, starring Michael Cera, in theaters Friday, rated R. By Subway, famous $5 footlongs like the Piled High BLT, $5 all day, every day, only at Subway. And by Bud Light, with the just right taste that's not too heavy, not too light. The difference is drinkability.
We are back. There is Ben Graham. We've talked about him a lot. They had hoped he might make the Pro Bowl. He's an alternate. Andy Lee, the man who holds the record, held the record at 42, has now been tied by Ben Graham. A punch down inside the 20-yard line. He has been outstanding. He hasn't had a touchback since the second game of the season. Matt Flynn is in at quarterback now. Aaron Rodgers finishing an outstanding day. Will not challenge the record of Lynn Dickey. He comes up 25 yards short, 24 yards short of tying the record, but a great day for Aaron Rodgers. 21 of 26, 235 yards, and he's now second as he passed Brett Favre twice.
Hey, enjoy the party at the Dickey's house right now.
There's changes on the offensive line for the Packers as they put in backups. And they carry up to the 20-yard line. Monty Beisel, the tackle on Amon Green.
Here's Aaron's last drive, and this is the way you want to finish up. Back shoulder throw right here to Donald Driver. Now he's going to get up the seam to Driver again. Screen, terrific placement from the quarterback, and then the ball location to Finley. Up high where only Finley could get it. Aaron Rodgers has been really, really good. And he'll finish with over 100 rating on the season. That'll be the first Packer quarterback to do that since Bart Starr.
We're talking about an all-time great there. Evan Dietrich Smith is the center. Matt Flynn, second-year man out of LSU, is sacked. There's a flag on the play.
Yeah, they got his face mask.
Personal foul, face mask, number 56, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's on Chike O'Keefer.
Scary one here. Here's O'Keefer. Watch as he's going to reach out with his right hand all the way back across and then just rip the helmet of Matt Flynn. That's the big nasty one right there.
What are your thoughts about any carryover from this game to next week?
Well, I think Arizona, they know how good they are. They know that they didn't play most of their starters today, but there, to me, is a huge psychological advantage for the Green Bay Packers with their confidence level.
They stop the play. As flags fly again.
Even Kurt Warner told us last week. Remember, Kurt Warner said the same thing. We know we're good enough. We just don't know if we have the consistency.
Number 62, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's the center, Evan Dietrich Smith. Also in the game, Alan Barber and TJ Lang.
Remember, Warner told us that. He said, look, we know we've got the ability to win the Super Bowl. We just don't know if we've got the consistency, Sam, at this point. And they're going to finish the season at 3-3 versus the Green Bay Packers, who are going to finish the season at 7-1 in their last 8 games. It's a difference in the psyche for sure.
I think mentally they can wipe this game out, because certainly they didn't play this with the way they would play a regular game or a game that they felt they needed to win.
No, I fully understand that, but it's not like they have been in their groove for the last month and a half. They have been inconsistent on both sides of the ball.
They played some good football, though. They've had some big wins. The game against Minnesota, certainly a big one for them. They played well on the road in Tennessee, though they lost right at the end. They couldn't stop that final drive.
Well, they're definitely a dark horse for sure. I mean, when you got Warner and Fitzgerald and Bolden, and hopefully he's healthy, and an emerging running game, and I mean real superstars on defense, it could be definitely a dark horse going into the playoffs, just like they were last year.
Flynn on the draw play, handoff to Brandon Jackson, gets a couple of yards on the play. And next week, it's playoffs on Fox. Next Sunday, we've got a wild card playoff game for you. Check your local listings, of course. But the playoffs begin, and on Fox, we start with a wild card next week, go to the divisional round the following week, and then, of course, the NFC Conference Championship game. It's all coming away on Fox as we take you right through the playoffs. Next week, it'll be Arizona home against Green Bay, and if the score holds up in Dallas, Dallas home against Philadelphia. Pass by Flynn, a little behind James Jones. Earlier today, Minnesota with a huge win led by Brett Favre with a great game beating the Giants. And now Dallas with a 24-0 lead on Philadelphia. If that holds up, Dallas will win the NFC East. They'll be the number 3 seed. Minnesota will get a bye as the number 2 seed, and they'll be happy about that. Dallas will host Philadelphia next week, and Arizona will host Green Bay. Second punt of the game for Jeremy Capados. Short kick, bounces at the 35, taken by Steve Breston, and gets back up to the 32-yard line. Fourth quarter, final game of the regular season. Green Bay Packers with a huge lead. Our coverage doesn't stop with the action. When it ends here, we go back to the studio for the OT, the best post-game show there is. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy have interviews, highlights, a look ahead to next week's playoff action. It's America's #1 post-game show. It's the OT, presented by Lowe's, coming up after the game. Brian St. Pierre, number 2, 7th-year man out of Boston College in at quarterback. First action he's seen this season. The ball tipped twice, falls incomplete. He was active for the Tennessee game as the backup to Matt Leinart, but did not play, and this is his first action since 2004.
Watch Matthews just destroy the running back, Beanie Wells. Watch this. I mean, Beanie Wells did not look like he had his balance underneath him, but I'll tell you this, and that's a lot like his dad used to do, Clay Matthews, when he was just a terrific player in Cleveland and Atlanta. He destroyed running backs. We just saw his son do the same thing to Beanie Wells.
LeRod Stevens howling in the backfield, and he slips away from a couple of players and is brought down at the 33. When you talk about Matthews, you talk about great football bloodlines. The grandfather, the father, and the uncle all played in the NFL. The grandfather, Clay Sr., played 4 seasons with the 49ers. Uncle Bruce, 19 seasons with Houston and Tennessee. And Father Clay, 19 seasons with Cleveland and Atlanta. And there is the young Clay, who's in the NFL now. And a younger brother is playing in college. St. Pierre being rushed, throws, and completes it. His first NFL completion to Jeremy Urban up to the 42-yard line. Ryan St. Pierre, who played with Pittsburgh and Baltimore before coming to Arizona.
Heck of a throw with Colin Jenkins right in his face. Just throws an absolute laser to Jeremy Urban there in front of the defenders.
St. Pierre threw 1 pass in a game in 2004 with Pittsburgh, spent 1 season, 2005 with Baltimore, went back to Pittsburgh for a couple of years, and this is his 2nd season with Arizona. And the ball comes loose. Recovered by Brian St. Pierre at the 44-yard line. Levi Brown taking his helmet off again.
Well, they are angry up front. Watch what happens with Deuce Latui and Lyle Sendeline and what they do to B.J. Raji. Watch the right guard in the center and what they do to number 90. You think they're a little irritated, Sam? Well, there's 3 yards, there's 4, there's 5, and eventually Raji went about 7 yards back to his rear end.
2nd and 8 for the Cardinals. St. Pierre wants to put it up, and the pass is intercepted by Tramon Williams. 3rd interception of the game by the Packers. Williams went down, got up, he was not touched, and gets down to the Arizona 34-yard line. First NFL interception thrown by Brian St. Pierre. The Packers continue to come away with interceptions, their 30th of the season.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevy and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Packers brought in Dom Capers, went to a 3-4, and look what it's produced. Their best turnover margin in franchise history. They're plus 25, 3 interceptions in the game today. Lead the NFL with 30. Lamont Green and Quinn Johnson, and they've held Arizona to 48 yards rushing as they try to end the season #1 in rushing yards defense.
And I think that's a big reason why we've seen guys like Johnny Jolly. We've seen the Packers in the game here in the second half when they've been up so far, because Mike McCarthy told us yesterday, he said that's an important milestone for us. That's an important number to show that we're the best in the number one in the National Football League at stopping the run, but the best in franchise history. So I think it's very clear, keeping the starters out there for really the lion's share of this game, that record's important.
Spencer Havener, number 41, in at tight end. Amon Green and Quinn Johnson in the backfield. Matt Flynn is the quarterback. Here's Amon Green. And gets a couple of yards. Outstanding interceptions for the Packers in the game.
And here's the first one by Charles Woodson, as he's going to take this one back to the end zone for a touchdown. Just reads the eyes of the quarterback, Leinart. It's just a bad throw there by Matt Leinart, up and over the head of Early Doucette. Bigby gets that one out of the zone. And then right there, I thought a great job by Tramon Williams. What he showed on the play was that he was going to sit and cover two and sit about 7 yards off the ball. Then he bailed and got to the deep quarter. And Brian St. Pierre did not know he was bailing. And again, that zone defense, we talked about it. They're playing a lot more of it under Dom Capers. Tramon Williams went up high and got it.
There's Matt Flynn on third down. Steps up, throws short. Jermichael Finley, a first down inside the 20-yard line. Finley's had a good game with his fourth catch.
Well, and this is a guy, and just some of the preview for next week's matchup, just watching him against Adrian Wilson and Antrell Roll of the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, today it's been a little easier on Finley without those stars out there. Adrian Wilson next week, him against Jermichael Finley, to me is going to be a great matchup.
Havener motions. And it's Brandon Jackson shoved back, bounces off, and gets a yard, maybe two on the play before he's brought down as the clock winds down on the regular season. And you can only wonder and speculate as to the effect, cause and effect in this game, and how will it impact next week's matchup between these two teams in preseason. Packers came in here and won in preseason. Obviously that doesn't matter. In a game that had no relevance in the standings once Minnesota won, the Packers have dominated over the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to have to regroup and get their game together for next week.
Definitely. There is a big swagger going right now for this Green Bay football team.
Amon Green was hit hard. That's Will Davis coming back from injury, finally getting a chance to play. Injuries certainly will be a concern. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie went down with a contusion on the knee early in the game. Charles Woodson went out with a shoulder injury, and Anquan Bolden with an ankle injury. So that'll be somewhat of a concern during the week for these two teams. 3rd and 8 for the Packers. Packer fans urging on their team. Flynn throws, and it's intercepted. And brought back by Ralph Brown. Cuts down the sideline. Brown being chased. There's a flag on the play, and Brown is ridden down inside the 10-yard line. So we check out the flag. Great return by Ralph Brown after the pick. The ball is spotted down at the Green Bay 7. Let's check out the flag.
After the interception, personal foul, low block, number 10 of the passing team. That penalty will be marked to half the distance to the goal. First down, Arizona.
Yeah, I think you look at Flynn here. He went to the wrong spot. They're going to have this all zoned off over here, and Ralph Brown's just going to jump it. They have 3 defenders in front of the wide receiver. Ralph Brown, again, what we've seen from Green Bay throughout this game, we just saw from Ralph Brown, just reading the eyes of the quarterback, getting in front of the throw, and getting the interception.
They will have a rematch next week in the first round of the playoffs, just as is the case in your game.
You're right about that, Kurt. Boy, and Dallas looks good, and Green Bay looks good here. Right now, with Brian St. Pierre at quarterback, Arizona trying to score. St. Pierre throws short, and Fitzgerald at the goal line. He's in. Touchdown. 13th touchdown of the season for Larry Fitzgerald. A career single-season high for him.
It's a little shallow crossing route, and St. Pierre finds him. You're going to see he's already in the end zone when he catches the football there. His body's in. It clearly goes over the plane, and then they push him back out. Pierre was on him the whole time. They had a linebacker in coverage, safety deep. And there's that big body in the red zone, which has been a huge, huge asset for Arizona this year.
And first NFL touchdown pass thrown by Brian St. Pierre. Congratulations to him. The Arizona Cardinals score late in this game.
Sam, we just talked about Arizona having the big body types down in the red zone. They're number one in the National Football League. Larry, coming into the game, had 9 red zone touchdowns. Now he's got 10 after that last one. Anquan Bolden with his big body. He's got 4 touchdowns down in the red zone. Beanie Wells now, the ability to run the football when they're down near the goal line is giving him great balance. He's got 7 touchdowns. And here was moments ago to Larry Fitzgerald on the shallow cross. And that's the challenge, I think, when you're in Green Bay going into next week, is contending and dealing with a prolific red zone team in the Arizona Cardinals. They're the best in the National Football League.
Neil Rackers kicks it off. Jordy Nelson from the 1. And Nelson gets outside. Rackers misses. Nelson is pushed out of bounds by Michael Adams. Good return by Jordy Nelson. Packers doing it all, every facet of the game. Don't forget, following the action here, the OT postgame show. One of the things that the Packers have been pointing to coming into this final game was to hold on to that #1 spot in the lead, in the league as far as yards allowed rushing, and in franchise history, this will be the best ever because in all likelihood, they won't have to go back on the field and defend. A great effort all season long by the Packers defense. They will finish #1 in the league and #1 in franchise history in rushing yardage given up. Give up only 48 yards in this game today. Amon Green carrying as we are heading down.
I think if you're Ken Wisenhunt of the Arizona Cardinals, you may not even show your players this tape. Seriously, you don't overreact. He knows what kind of football team he's got. He knows they can catch fire at any time. It's really about them in terms of the consistency and what they're able to do. So I know he came into this game without wanting to show a lot in terms of the game plan. Wanted to play well, hopefully win. He achieved the first part of that, but certainly not the other 2 parts.
But you might want to look at what the Packers did offensively in the first half, especially with all their starters in. Here's Amon Green with a good run down to the 26-yard line as we reach the 2-minute warning of this final regular season game. The Packers winding it up over the Arizona Cardinals.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, official wireless service sponsor of the NFL.
NFC playoff picture, Minnesota big win today. Dallas about to defeat Philadelphia, so that lower note applies that Dallas will win, then upper note applies. Minnesota gets a first-round bye. Dallas will host Philadelphia next week, and of course, as we mentioned throughout, it'll be Arizona hosting Green Bay next week. Buys to New Orleans and Minnesota in the first round.
You ask what Arizona's thinking. What do you think the Philadelphia Eagles are thinking? I mean, they went in there with a game plan to win that game today and achieve a 2 seed and win the division, and they got their butts kicked. What's going on through their head right now?
We want to send a special message of thanks to Mike Pereira of the NFL, the man, the supervisor of officials, who's run the office for so many years and done a great job of not only organizing the officials but explaining the rules to everyone. He's done a fabulous job as he winds up the regular season, and of course the playoffs coming up. It all begins. We'll have a Fox game for you next Sunday with a wild card game. Today's game produced by Mike Burks, directed by Sandy Grossman, associate director Tom Yohe, broadcast associate Eric Mandia. Rick Tugman is our technical director. Technical producer is Frank Phillips. Pre-game show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. Senior producer is Bill Brown. Executive producers of Fox Sports, Red Gorin and David Hill. Thanks to Gary Lynn and Emmett McGuire in the booth. Mark Sazda and Ty Yohe, who worked in the truck all season long doing stats and Fox Box. To our great video people, Rob Levy, Don Vermeulen, Pat Caballero, thanks for all your help. Buzz Schwing down on the field with his camera. Congratulations to these playoff-bound teams. Green Bay, 11-5. Arizona, 10-6. They meet here next week in a wild card playoff game. Good luck to them. Coming up after this break, the OT presented by Lowe's. For Tim Ryan, this is Sam Rosen. So long, everyone.